Guys, have you ever thought about investing in Bitcoin? Well, Noble Gold did. They were paying close attention, as always. They are one of a handful of companies in the US who do crypto IRAs. Yeah, you heard that right. They can put your crypto into an IRA or 401k plan. Noble Gold has also slashed their own fees on Bitcoin IRA and 401k deals, along with a waiver of their first year's fee. That's right, a waiver of their first year's fee for anyone putting in over $20,000. That's a savings of over $400 on custodial and setup fees. Plus, you're going to get a tax break. That's free money from the IRS. Call them at 877-646-5347 and tell them that True Reporting sent you. Learn how you can grow your IRA with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. The link is in the description box below. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome, everybody, to another edition of True Reporting. It is the 23rd of June, and on today's podcast, we have a very special guest with us today, Zach McElroy. He is the Facebook whistleblower, and my friend, I really appreciate you giving me the time of day to ask you a few questions. I know you haven't done many interviews thus far, but I definitely want to get into everything that you've been through. I want to definitely dig into Facebook and what's to come of Facebook and what's to come of you. So again, my friend, thank you for stopping by with everyone here today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So people might know, Project Veritas dropped pretty much a trailer for what's to come. It was about 3 minutes long. So a lot of detail wasn't given entirely about your background or your job. So what actually did you do at Facebook?
Sure. So I was employed at Cognizant, which subcontracts with Facebook for content moderation. My position was a content moderator. So I was responsible for essentially determining whether posts that have been reported by people are violating policy or not, public policy. So I determine whether these things stay up or they're deleted or whatever they do with them. And so that was my position. Yes.
Okay, so you were doing this. What actually, I don't know, what was the alarming thing that brought you forward to go public with this with Project Veritas? What was the reason for this?
Oh, I mean, it was a number of things. I can't tell you how many things I found objectionable. The day I started working there, it's like they put me through a month of training, 4 weeks, and the training involves disseminating their policy, explaining what it means, how you deal with these posts. And yeah, I mean, the half of the problem was policy, and that stuff I saw right away. So I knew right away that there were issues, but had a very distinct problem. What do I do about it? I took issue with a lot of this stuff, but I didn't know what to do about it. What was I going to do? Leak the stuff online? Leak documents online? Nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody cares. And I stick my neck out, legally speaking, for basically no reason. I could go to like some publication, New York Times, whatever, The Verge. They're probably going to rat me out to Facebook if I did that. So I think the only place that I could have gone to with this stuff was Project Veritas. And funny enough, I'd actually been familiar with them and a fan of their work for probably like 5 years or 5 or 6 years until at that point. But I didn't consider going to them with this information until later in the year. I had met Eric Cochran at a speaking event, and I thought, you know what, I'll give it a shot. I gave him my business card, and we spoke pretty quickly. Within a few weeks, we had everything rolling. So,
which way did you lean politically going into working for Facebook? Because you said you were a fan of Project Veritas for over 5 years. How long did you work for Facebook?
I worked for Cognizant for, I think it was January last year till the end of February this year. They had laid everybody at the building off and closed their operations.
Really? So you went into this leaning which way politically, or were you just in the middle, just kind of open-minded?
My political views, yeah, I mean, sort of more like a paleo-conservative type.
Mm-hmm. So this was pretty alarming and shocking, the way that they were kind of manipulating things online. Speaking of Facebook, I wanted to talk about anything that shows Trump in a positive aspect on Facebook gets pushed to the background or censored. A lot of people are starting to realize this, especially people who are already awake and who are conservative. They see that they're getting banned for 72 hours or up to even 30 days or completely just kicked off the platform. But pro-Hillary ads or any type of comment posted on Facebook is now in the foreground. So the average person doesn't understand censorship, most would say. Some believe it's conspiracy. These 18-year-old voters are highly influential. So the question is, do you feel that Facebook could possibly be a propaganda machine? That's the question one. And should criminal prosecution or criminal repercussions take place on this platform? I know that's a heavy question, but just ballpark it.
Yeah, well, I can't speak to Facebook being a propaganda. Don't know that I would be willing to say whether they are or aren't. A lot of things just speak for themselves. What I'll say is I'll say that the censorship speaks for itself. You've seen it. We've known that it's going on. Now we've exposed how it is happening. And yeah, regarding jail time, I think it's such a difficult thing because you can argue that the Section 230 thing, which we'll get into later, is this stuff is illegal. It's a violation. You can say Mark Zuckerberg, lied under oath. You can say that. It totally depends. It's not up to me. I'm not the judge, I guess, is what I'll say.
Sure. Well, I was looking at recent articles. Of course, they were left-wing articles, New York Times, Washington Post, saying that, no, he did not because he was not under oath. So did he or did he not? So what do you think about that? Is that true?
I think that's going to definitely be up to it's going to be up to the court to decide. I think this stuff is going to hopefully trigger a great wave of interest in putting pressure on these companies, and maybe we'll maybe hopefully see some legislative action as well as a result of this. And I for one am 1,000% willing to testify before Congress based on what I saw.
That's amazing. Are you fearful of this in any way?
I speak only the truth. I speak only what I saw. That's all it is. You ask me my political views, I don't even necessarily want to say that because it doesn't necessarily have to be about politics.
No, it doesn't. It's more, yeah. Go for it. Tell me.
Everybody should agree about. Everybody should agree that the First Amendment should be protected. Everybody should agree that it's wrong.
I was watching the trailer for your interview, and some of your, I guess, quote unquote coworkers were saying that they would delete people immediately off Facebook if they were wearing anything MAGA because they were deemed terrorists. Don't you find that quite extreme? And why are these people working there if they have these point of views?
Yeah, well, they were working there because that's the kind of person that the job attracts. They look for people in these cities which are largely liberal, largely blue, largely left leaning. And so as a matter of course, it's going to be that the pool of workers there, the pool of employees at the content moderating jobs are also going to be majority left or blue. So it's a case of that combined with, I think they have the audacity to sort of do these things that could get them in trouble, but they don't really care because their ideology motivates them more. In the case of people who say some of the more extreme stuff, it's just totally out of my mindset. I don't think that way, so I can't say it's what are they thinking, so.
Did you feel outnumbered working there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I didn't say anything about my politics there. That's why I keep it close to my chest. And fortunately, yeah, I never got hassled about that. So, yeah, I definitely was outnumbered, I guess, politically speaking.
For you to get in there, obviously, they look into your background. I'm sure that they look into your social media and everything for you to get into this place. So it's, is there an echo chamber of we're doing it this way? If you do not do it this way, you got to go. Do you think that there's a prominent environment of that going on?
That's an interesting question. I think I could only speculate. I think that probably they don't even need to. They don't have to. I think, like I said, they hire people and they have these headquarters and these locations and offices in largely left-leaning districts. So I don't think they really have to weed out whoever is a Republican or not. And certainly a lot of people who are, like myself, yeah, they play it close to the chest. Don't really say it.
So do you think that they are influencing in a biased form ways to steer people to vote in a certain way? Do you think that there's some of that going on as well?
That's another speculation I don't really feel comfortable saying, but
Hmm.
there's definitely there's cause and effect. I mean, these things have effects. These things where you have you know, you have illustration of Donald Trump getting his throat slit on the front of a Portland art museum. Um, they allow that, but they don't allow cartoon of Elmer Fudd shooting Beto O'Rourke. These things have consequences. You let these things stay up, you're kind of like sending a message. And you can argue, oh well, it's kind of like they delegated this stuff to contractors. This is probably what the reason that they do the contract in the first place. But it's just so systemic. We've known that this has been going on forever, and this is it's just evidence. And so yeah, I think with regards to the election, I think it's just a kind of a causality thing. All of these things kind of compound on one another to whether or not they say they want to interfere with the election, which would be crazy for them to say. Whether or not they even actually want to do that, again, I'm not going to speculate. That's kind of something that could happen as a result of it. So it is a big problem. It's dangerous.
What level were you at in this company?
I was a content moderator along with everybody else. So there are content moderators. There are the people who audit content moderators' jobs to determine their job performance.
How many moderators per se?
I think there were like 500 or 600 people at the office I was at, and another, I don't know how many were at the other location was in Phoenix. I don't know how many there were, but this is just one company that does that. There are other companies that do the subcontracting content moderation work as well. There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people across the nation and across the world that are doing this work.
So these algorithms pick up if something, obviously, is it like facial recognition? Is it able to pick up if someone's wearing a MAGA hat or something that, I understand that it can pick up words, but when these algorithms, I believe that they pick them up, is someone in real time deeming this is we're going to delete this post, or where does that go from?
So there's two facets to the situation. There are posts that are reported physically by a person. So you're browsing Facebook and you see something. It's like, I don't want to see that. I think that should be taken down. You report it, and that gets sent to us, and we review it. But also there are automatically reported posts done by a bot, and there's an algorithm based, I'm sure, for a lot of those things. And yeah, so there's two facets. There's the physically reported by the average person, like an actual person.
What percentage of that do you think that would be if someone's actually doing this manually?
Percentage of what exactly?
Percentage of deleting these posts or censoring or taking these people off of a platform. What do you think that percentage is of someone manually physically doing that?
Oh, well, at my office, obviously it was 100% because it was all of us, but in other words, we didn't have like a section of the office that dealt specifically with algorithmic based moderation.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of stuff is, this is kind of speculation at this point, but a lot of stuff is kind of picked up automatically. I think nude bodies, probably pornography for the most part, is probably automatically taken down. I'm not sure though, to be honest. I can't speak to that. I wasn't a programmer, so to speak. I was just a moderator.
Sure. The reason I ask is because this channel and many other channels that were part of a network actually all got demonetized in the same day. 15 channels were all demonetized in the same day from YouTube. So we are not allowed super chats. We're not allowed donations or any type of ad revenue, which is, I'm wondering if someone did this manually or was this an algorithm that did it? So
YouTube is another wild can of worms, YouTube.
Absolutely. So we'll end off by saying Section 230. Bill Barr has been talking about this. Attorney General William Barr has been talking about it. Trump's been talking about it. The executive order to make these publishers, and quote publishers, they are editing, they are censoring. They're going to change them over to a platform, now making them liable. They're no longer protected. So, is this the right step in regulating these companies, even regulating the internet?
Yeah, I think that I wholeheartedly support enforcing Section 230. That's how I would put it. I would say enforcing Section 230. I think that there've been calls actually to remove Section 230 entirely, which I'm not like totally well versed in this whole situation, but from what I understand, I don't think repealing Section 230 entirely would be the right move, because obviously you would cripple every website that's not offending, like Facebook or YouTube or other things like that. So, but I think it's simply a matter of enforcing the law. It's as simple as 230 is there, enforce it. These people are in these companies, Facebook, YouTube, and others are very clearly violating Section 230. I think, in my layman's opinion, um, and yeah, this, like I said, enforce it.
Do you think people will leave platforms? The president and many conservatives have created Parler to kind of combat Twitter because of the censorship on Twitter. Do you think that there will be other alternate platforms that people will perceivably leave to go to because they do not like being censored?
Well, yeah, certainly alternatives have sprung up in the wake of this. And you're seeing more. We saw Gab, we're seeing Parler, we're seeing all these places pop up for people to kind of take refuge in. And it's not to say anything negative about them, but they're kind of just something that happens when these places are not friendly to you to begin with. I think the ideal situation would be that we didn't have to take refuge somewhere in the first place. I think we just should take back Facebook. I think we should take back all these platforms. I don't think we should have to do it. But that being said, I don't not support them. I support, obviously they're great and they're doing good stuff. But I just think that the move, I think, will be to bring people back. I don't think it will be dividing and fracturing. I think it will be trying to make sure that we all have a voice on the same platform.
I agree. You've got to get rid of the censorship. I don't know what's to come of that, or what the first step is to doing that. And maybe with this Section 230, maybe they'll become fearful of being of receiving so many lawsuits. But maybe that'll put them in the right perspective of things, so that it's all an even playing field. I will leave you with this, Zach. Where do you go from here?
Yeah. So from here, it's all honestly kind of uncertain. As I said, the office was closed down. Everybody was laid off at the end of February, and then, as you know, COVID hit, and we're still feeling that. And so it's just it's hard to think that it's been so long already, but these months since the late February, it's just been very uncertain. We're working on this story in the background and waiting to release it. Finally, it's done today, but yeah, I mean, since then, I've still remained unemployed, honestly. So it's pretty difficult to say what will happen from here. And I think the notoriety that comes with this also has its own hassles. But I'm optimistic, and I'd like to say that I'm really, really humbled, nothing short of humbled, that a lot of people have shown support today. And there was a GoFundMe set up for me, actually, in the wake of this. And it's something that I do with humility, because I prefer to work for my money, but kind of unique times. So it's been, like I said, I'm speechless, because a lot of people have already donated a lot. And I don't know if any of you are watching this. If you are, I cannot thank you enough. It's something that's very new to me, to be honest. So yeah, so that's what my future probably, hopefully, looks like. It's the GoFundMe was set up. And I'd also like to say, as an aside, that if, speaking of being inspired by this story or enjoying the story, if you liked what you saw and you are also on the inside, you did something similar, or you did something similar to what I used to do, or maybe something totally different, maybe even better. Maybe you're actually in Facebook HQ. Maybe you're one of the programmers. You're on that side of things. If you want to come forward, I really, really encourage you to do so, because it's going to take a tsunami of people like me, I guess, insiders coming forward with all this stuff to a place like Project Veritas, which is, like I said, probably the only place right now that does what they do. So if you want to come forward, do it. I think their tip line is veritastips@protonmail.com. So definitely do that.
VeritasTips at protonmail.com. Go to it, guys. If anyone out there is working in a higher aspect of Facebook and you want to divulge some information to the rest of us and really even the playing field, I suggest you do it. Zach, listen, man, I really appreciate it. I think of you as a hero. You have no idea. I had Zach Voorhees on here, the Google whistleblower, good friend of mine. In my eyes, and in many people's eyes, you are a hero. And, I suggest everyone, please go hit up that GoFundMe. I will put the link in the description box below. Help this man out. And again, Zach, thank you so much for your time. I want to thank Project Veritas as well for hitting up True Reporting. So thank you, my friend.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. Guys, if you found this informative and you enjoyed it, please go ahead and subscribe to True Reporting. Also, you can follow me on Twitter at True Reporting. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless each and every one of you, and I will talk to you tomorrow. God bless. Bye-bye. Guys, if you found what you just watched informative and you enjoyed it, then please subscribe to the True Reporting family today. There are many ways to support this channel, like our Patreon link, our PayPal link, and our TRUreporting.us official website link in the description box below. Join the True Reporting family today and be a part of history, because where we go one, we go all.